You know, that's me. I'm Cadence Weapon, aka the Black Brian Ferry. And all that music was produced by a guy by the name of Jacques Green. Give it up for my host, my guest. I'm the host, but he's the guest, Jacques Green, Montreal's own. They need to make a stamp for him. It's lit. How's
so
it
you
going?
start a talk show, and I'm the house band and the guest.
Yeah, man. You know, the times are tough right now. You know.
I love it.
Yeah. How you doing?
Great. It's good to see you. It's good to be back in Toronto. I lived here for a few years. So it's nice to be here. I also was part of DJ'd and it entered like so many crazy after hours here before it was a legitimate space.
Yeah.
So these are hollowed grounds. It feels good to be here.
No, for real. I feel like it's very fitting that we're having this conversation in this particular room.
It should happen here.
Yeah. What do you feel about back in the day when you lived here and we used to make music here? Because all the stuff that we played before was stuff that you produced.
Yep.
And I rapped on.
Yeah, most of it was done at my house here.
Yeah.
Although a couple of them were done in Montreal.
Yeah, that's
as
true.
well. But yeah, we've known each other since way back. Fixtures in the Myland loft party scene in the indie rock world.
Let me be like Zane Lowe and be like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
we were friends, okay? We knew each other before. We've known each other for a long time, and but anyway.
But it's one of those nice creative partnerships where we actually kind of you get to assess the character a little bit, you know, like and not not on purpose, but like we kind of like are friends for a while, and so once we start working on music, it's like, oh, but that's just like the dude that, you know, I've had drinks with, I've had meals with, and all that. So like, yeah, of course, come through the house, let's make some music.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like I've always described it as there's a direct connection from our friendship into the making the music, and it's kind of like intrinsically connected that way.
I think that also spreads to like, you know, you just played 4 songs and all 4 of them to me mostly feel very different because whether they've been for my project or yours or just in general, it'll be like, I've been listening to like this kind of stuff lately. Like it really comes from this, like, I have this like kind of vibe in my head and like, I think you'd be like, I think if we sit down, we can probably get it done. And I think all 4 of those songs, maybe there's some redubs, but they were all made in like an hour.
Oh yeah.
Like from scratch, like 2 hours. Like I think like Night Service, for instance, I remember we did it like in the basement of my apartment.
Yeah.
It was literally like I was listening to like that second wave of Detroit techno, like that kind of ambient-y, like Carl Craig thing. And I was like, I want like patty, noisy Detroit techno with like you like on it, like you on it. And we were just like it just happened.
Yeah, I think at that time too, I was really into like LV and like Joseph Edahin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right, and I was like, I like the kind of spoken word vibes on some of those tracks. But it's cool, like we it's almost like we had a brief for ourselves for the songs.
Yeah.
But then it ends up being like nothing like any of the stuff that we were talking about, really. I think
that's the most exciting part. I think like in general, I always kind of go in with a pretty clear idea of what I want to do and fuck it up. like I have like a very like I've been listening to particular types of stuff where I'm like I want a kind of song that fits between these kind of things and like what I've been DJing, and then I don't accomplish it, but I make some like a happy accident that's like a new type of song.
But you know, I would kind of argue that's like that's where you come in, right? It's like there's some people who are really good at doing like covers or like mimicking a particular sound or anything, but then it's like these attempts to do something. This always happens to me too. Like I try to make some regular rap and it always ends up just totally fucked and weird.
Yeah. yeah. I mean, I think that's like, you know, that's like the genuine creativity, like in a other sphere of my life. Like my girlfriend always says that I'm a really good cook. And I kind of think that's not really true. Like I'm a great cover band. Like I'm really good at following recipes and I enjoy it. And I'll do like complicated recipes, but I'm, you know, I could go a faithful rendition of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, but I can't write some chords on the, you know, I'm not making new things in there.
I thought that was interesting. You came to the food before I did because I feel like I referred to you as a gourmand in promoting this event. So what are the comparisons that you would make between being a producer, even a DJ, mixer type person, and putting together a beautiful meal? Because I know you enjoy a good meal.
So this is interesting because I specifically didn't want to kind of get into this before when we were talking about this, but this is something I think about a lot in a conversation I've had with friends of mine that work restaurants. But I think it's actually DJing and club culture is more akin to the entire experience of like a restaurant and front of house. And I think like since I've been a teenager and kind of throwing local parties, a lot of the people I gravitated towards and my best friends were all barbacks and waiters and people that worked restaurants. And within that, there is this like, no matter the energy you had in the day, this attitude of like, once the lights are on, just putting on that show and making sure the people that had their hard-earned money throughout the week, once they walk in, like I'm from Montreal, we've got a pretty like famous restaurant culture there. Even beyond kind of what comes out of the kitchen, it's more this attitude of like, if you're down to go on the ride, we will take you on a ride. And this kind of like goes a little further. I've been thinking about this like a lot, of the idea that like raving and going out to eat are two kind of like cultural experiences that they're kind of like a tango. Like going to a movie, you might not get the movie, but you definitely can go to a movie, see the movie, leave. But I think certain people will tell me they didn't like a restaurant or they went to a party and it sucked. Maybe those things sucked, but maybe, you know, you sent a plate back, or maybe you like called the waiter over when clearly they were busy, or maybe you entered like the rave and like instead of just like finding your way around the room, you just got really impatient. You didn't know where to stand. You didn't know how to work the room. And I think like there is a real skill to attending both those things. So I think that as a consumer, as a patron of like raves and restaurants, I think there's like steps to the dance. Mm-hmm. But then also as like the restaurateur or the DJ or the promoter, for instance, it's like, you know, we were talking about this earlier, this idea that like kind of not for the worst, like music at a nightclub is definitely not 100% of the experience. I think there's different places that have it's, you know, half of the experience or 30% or 20% or whatever. But
lay the math on me.
It's the lighting, it's the other people in the room, it's the price of the drinks, it's the price of the ticket, it's where it is in the city, it's the way the walk into the place. Like there's so many things that go into it that are way beyond when I hit play on a CDJ, and I find that to be like a beautiful thing, and that makes it a richer experience, not a like worse experience. Like having music not necessarily be 100% of the experience is not a bad thing. It just makes it means there's more things to care about.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that phenomenon of being like music is not actually the main thing about going out to a show or going to the club. This is something that I think is becoming more apparent with all genres of music as well. Yeah. I mentioned. I also feel like being a DJ or being a performer, entertainer, it is largely a service position.
100%. So I have this like line that I think I used at too many dinner parties. So this is now that I'm putting it on a recorded conversation. I'm never using this like turn of phrase again. But basically, like I think I've been doing this for a long time. I've been like traveling, playing shows nearly every weekend as I am right now for the last 12, 13 years. And I think around 2019, I still loved it, but there's definitely kind of like a side of me that was like, am I just a soundtrack to people getting fucked up and finding someone to go home with? And it was like kind of this like, am I just facilitating kind of drink sales? But like, am I just a soundtrack to people getting fucked up and finding someone to go home with? And then COVID happens, and I'm at my house, and I'm like, wait, you get to be the soundtrack to someone getting fucked up and going home with? Like, there was kind of this like, I didn't have to rewire my thinking. It was more just, that is a beautiful thing, and to not want to be the main event. Although I know people are buying tickets to kind of come see me play a lot of the times. But I like to think that I'm providing the context, the dressage for you to kind of have your own adventure. And like a way that I've become a much better DJ since the pandemic is doing things like I'll imagine like storylines. Like I'm playing and I'm like 3 tracks in, I'm like, I want to find the perfectly, not a bad record, but like a functional, almost boring record. Now it's time to go get a drink. Or like you saw someone at the start of my set, like go look at that person. And I'm imagining like how long is the wait for that line? And like maybe like, you know, you're following your friends in the bathroom to do a bump. And I'm literally like picturing astral planing and like picturing doing all this in the club. And then like 2 or 3 songs later, I'm like, all right, time to come back to the floor though.
Just for everyone listening, when you are at a club and you see a DJ and you're like, is he doing anything? That's what's going on in his head. Yeah.
I'm just picturing waiting in line to go piss.
Yeah.
But in like a cool way.
Yeah. No, I love that. There's something very curatorial about the way that you approach that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of takes us back to this idea, like, you're picking way more than songs. You're picking an energy level. You're picking an attitude. You're picking, like, that's, to me, that's exciting. That's, like, in the same way that I think you've been through this before, once you finish the music and you get to, like, start thinking about artwork and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, the opposite of annoying. That's, like, so cool. Like, let's build out a world. Let's invite people in. Like, how can I make how can I tell the story?
Yeah. How is it's all the other stuff, it sometimes can feel more exciting in the end, like the whole, like, even like the rollout of an album.
Sure. I think part of that is also, like, you've been doing this for a long time too. It's like, if you only care about the song, which I think is, like, such a, you know, Prince and Bowie didn't just care about the song. Like, you're better than Bowie?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck. But also, you're gonna have to go through this. Either you're gonna be bitter and upset, or try to have fun with it. And I'd rather try to have fun with it.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy way to see it. But I mean, I've had periods in my career where I'm very precious.
Listen.
You know, and I'm just like, I made the best song I possibly could, but then I didn't do anything else.
I do think, you know, the song comes first. You do it, like, the main kind of expensive, and not just expense financial, but expensive time should be, like, the music should be really good. Because otherwise you're going about it backwards. The same, you know, to bring back the restaurant analogy, the food is important. But if your waiter is a bit of an asshole, or they don't know their product, and, you know, then it doesn't matter if the food's good. But the food has to be good.
Yeah. No.
I'm not just going for vibes. I need the actual product to be good.
Yeah, being a DJ is like being a vibes manager. Do you like that?
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I am.
Yeah, but can you describe maybe what your ideal club would be? Like, what's club heaven for Jacques Green?
I'm sort of worming my way out of this one, but part of it's ephemeral. It changes. It can also match your different energy levels. I think sometimes I'm totally in the mood for a low ceiling. You know, my mind definitely goes to, there's a club in Glasgow in Scotland, sort of a sister city of Montreal, just a bunch of insane people that really know music. And there's a club called Sub Club, and it's in a basement. And when you're at the bar, the ceilings are, like, you know, 9 feet tall or whatever, but over the dance floor, you can reach the ceiling with your hand. And so it's very customary when someone plays a banger that everyone just starts slapping the ceiling of the dance floor.
I think people in Toronto can relate to that. That's kind of a famous thing, right? With the Sean Paul music video, and people going end in Parts and Labor. You know, there's a classic thing, like, slapping the ceiling. Parts and
Labor basement. I haven't thought about that place in a long time. Yeah. But that, to me, like, that's kind of, like, up there for sure. But then I love spectacle. I love to walk into a room where, like, you know, obviously the Berghains come to mind, but, like, a Sonar by Night, like a big, well-organized kind of festival stage. I think, like, the festival gets hated on. It has its share of issues. But when done right, the idea of, like, walking up to a space and you just don't know where the end of the dance floor is, that's endless possibility. It's exciting. The unknown. It's like, you know, that one painting of, like, the man standing over fog, wander above the fog. I want to walk in a club and feel like that all the time. Just like, what's going on in there?
I feel like you basically want a club in Silent Hill, the video game.
It's exactly what I want.
Actually, somebody's gonna definitely open that in Toronto after this conversation. It'll be like,
I've sampled Silent Hill 2 before.
Yeah, me too. Actually, did you know that? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I won't say on which song.
Yeah, I'll never tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so club heaven for you. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I've read all these books about clubs, and I've seen so many documentaries and films and everything. And in my experiences of throwing shows and events, I am definitely inspired by some of the things, like, I've read about. Like, you hear about the stories of, like, you know, even the Limelight in Montreal and stuff. I did all this research on that, and how they used to think so much about the lighting. How they would be like, okay, when I come on to DJ, we're going to turn off all the lights, and then we'll just play this, like, 8 minutes of a song in its complete pitch darkness. The theater, the drama of it all.
This is going to be, like, a bit of a hot take, especially standing in front of these beautiful stacks. But I'd rather a well-lit club than a great sounding club, honestly. I think I've had parties where, like, it was kind of smoky and kind of the strobe was hitting right, and, like, yeah, I was redlining a little bit, or it was a little crunchy, but the vibe was just, like, you know, sweat down the walls, and it was really good. And I've been to rooms where did you know that like so and so tuned the system? And you're there like, yeah, okay. But like we're just standing here, like, I think like, but ultimately it doesn't matter where it comes from. Vibe is vibe, and the vibes need to be managed. Vibes need to be provided, and like that's just all it really comes down to.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like just the fact that you're a classic Montrealer, like you have this relationship to the city and this knowledge of it that really informs your appreciation of hospitality.
Yeah, that's
a
right.
big part of DJing. I think it's hospitality. This idea of like, two for me, two for them. 2 songs or whatever your philosophy is or whatever.
Yeah. The golden rule when I started really DJing clubs was someone told me just DJ for the girls and the gays. Straight guys will figure it out.
100%.
Just never play to a straight guy. Every time you think you're gonna play a song for the fellas, just don't.
Yeah.
Like they'll figure it out.
Yeah. Like what would we be playing if it was just for the fellas? What does that even? What would it be?
Damn. I mean.
No, I know what it is.
You know when you see it. You kind of you know. And the thing is, different kind of record can work for like a different crowd, a different time of night. But you know it. You know when you hear it.
Just on a loop. Woke up this morning, gonna get myself a gun. Just on a loop.
Yeah. This one's for the fellas.
Yeah, this is for my homies.
This is for the fellas.
Let's go. No, I don't know. Just random thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just sit in the club thinking about ducks.
Yeah,
where do they go?
Gabagool. Club Gabagool. So Montreal, though. I wanted to talk about Montreal a little bit.
Please.
And how it has influenced you, like growing up there. Like, well, I'm trying to like chart the path of when you became the grown-up vibes manager that you are today. And this is not a pejorative. I think
I started the junior vibes office. I was born kind of in the Mile End and like kind of Lower Outremont, and first apartment ever was above Olympico. So for those that kind of know their spots, they like definitely in the thick of it, and definitely kind of like the path of probably so many people of just like. You're listening to like Radiohead and Block Party, but also like a lot of Godspeed Black Emperor, because they were like definitely genuine like local rock stars at the time in the city, and attending Arcade Fire church shows, like those kind of things. But I kind of fell into electronic music pretty early, not that early, I guess, but before North American. That's one really crazy thing when you hang out with like specifically people from the UK. They like just grew up around jungle or something. But I think for us, especially in Quebec, where like as a kid, I'm listening to like Les Colocs and like French Canadian like rock music, and no cable. I'm just like watching The Simpsons in French. The Quebec dub is classic. It was localized, so a lot of the jokes are actually like about Quebec, and they have like strong Quebec accents. I really recommend looking up some clips on YouTube. It's like, really funny.
Can you give an example of like what Quebec Simpsons joke?
I don't have one off top right now, but just the accents themselves are spot on. So good. But I kind of like got pretty lucky with like a kind of mentor figure, like a history teacher that kind of saw that I really love music. And he was like, "You thought you liked that? Like, check these out." And literal like School of Rock moment, he hands me like a stack of CDs to take home for the weekend, and it's like Autechre and Amon Tobin, and like a lot of early Warp and Ninja Tune CDs.
There it is.
And
oh my God.
I was a big nerd that played like Counter-Strike during lunch hour, and I was in the computer program. So I had my chops in Photoshop at like 13, 14, and this guy, he was still holding on to his university radio show, and he lost a co-host, and I had made him a banner for his radio show, and at some point, I don't know how this why, and my parents must have been very creeped out, but he's like, "Do you want to host this show with me?" And so my he was like straight out of university. So this guy's like in his mid-20s, maybe mid-late 20s, and he's asking like a 15-year-old to go to his apartment in Little Italy to learn how to use a CDJ, to then go to like the Université de Montréal CSM office, like a radio station, to use like the rack mount, the old Denon rack mount voice.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a down-tempo electronica show, and we did 2 hours every Friday, or once a month on Fridays. and played like a lot of Boards of Canada and Dilla and stuff like that. And once a month, one of the guests was an employee from Ninja Tune who just like ran some tracks because Ninja Tune used to have an office in Montreal. And that summer, so I'm like 14, 15 years old, the guy offers me like an internship where I'd be paid in 2 vinyl records a week, which to me, oh my God, jumped at the opportunity.
That's fire.
But the best part of it is most of the jobs, it was moving some stuff around the warehouse because a lot of records and CDs. But the main part of the job was like, okay, Amantoba has a new CD coming out, or 6-2 has a new CD coming out. We need to mail 35 promo copies to different journalists. So I'm like typing up like the mailing address of like the Critic at like Pitchfork and like Stereo Gum or whatever, and slipping in kind of like the CD cases, and got paid in DJ Vadim and Mr. Scruff records.
Wow. I gotta say, that is the most Jacques Green ass origin story that I could have possibly heard. That's crazy. And honestly, I really, you'll be surprised, I'm very relating to this so much because my dad was a college radio DJ.
So tight. And shout out to college radio.
And that was how I first DJ'd. He
honestly,
invited me to DJ with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just really, I think that's really cool. And I feel like it's cool to have those kind of venues and opportunities to do stuff like that. But I'll let you continue the. No, I mean,
that's kind of, from there, honestly, I just, then I had the bug. And so like I was showing up to that office. They were playing really cool music in there. It's like 2005, 2006. And obviously because they're originally from the UK, like the company, and around the office, they're playing like early tempa, like, all like scream, like early dubstep stuff. And I was just so hooked. And my friend and I would go to the record stores all the way up Saint Laurent. Thursdays is when the new records come in. And you kind of like do your thing. You can only afford to buy like 2 at a time, 3 at a time. But like the guys know your taste. They set some shit aside. But like this, you're starting to get into genres of music where like the section doesn't exist yet, Right. So you're showing up to DNA Records and you're like, did any more of that dubstep stuff come in? And like, I'm forgetting his name, but like Kosa, one of the OG like jungle guys from Montreal. Anyways, he's like working the counter there and he's like, oh yeah, I think we got a few. We're putting in the like, the 2-step section. And, yeah, I think that's it. And then, train wrecked my way through a few Ninja Tune staff parties, and the rest is history.
Can you describe a train wrecking experience that you've had?
I think like much in the same way that in the last few years, I feel like I've gotten way better because I think I'm playing with like a more mature empathy and sense of time and care for what's going on in the room. I think like one of the first kind of rules, and I think a lot of people that are young kind of experience this, especially with DJing, because I don't think it matters as much when you're playing your own music. But with DJing, I think I was playing at the crowd, and I learned to play like, with and to the crowd. No, I mean, not with, but like to the crowd. And because I think at first you're like, that's the craziest, they're not even know what hit them. And you think that's like so exciting. And like...
I'm just picturing this like
just playing like spank rock into like the harshest like noisy like early dubstep thing.
Just picturing a rabid young Phil just doing.
Yeah, you think I got energy now?
Yeah. No, I love that, man. Like, yeah, I feel like there's that whole idea of like when you're young, you're super excited to share music with people. But then you forget that, like, oh yeah, like people like want to, like, what about the girls and gays? Like literally.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, those people were my friends, Like I think we were like part of what kind of made so much sense about like that particular attitude is like the people that were coming to like my night tracking party when I started playing more like club tempo stuff is we were already like that was just our scene, to be honest. But yeah, I think there's this like interesting moment when you're young of like wanting to confront the world in general, and that makes you confrontational both in your music you're always in reaction, both what you go for culturally might be in reaction to your parents, or it might be in reaction to who's around you at school, and that's like really exciting. And I think like a lot of like even first Jacques Green records are kind of like that. I remember like sending them to the first few people in Europe, and like Teki Latex of TTC, it was like one of the first people to like support those records, and he was like, dude, like the melodies, these are so hard to mix. Like, what are you doing? And I think like because I was like loving parts of like groove and the idea of club music, but I was rebelling against too much group or just like I wanted them to be a little to stand apart, I think, that made them kind of broken and sort of unplayable in a way.
To be young is to be oppositional, I think, and that's
a really exciting time.
I mean, it's like you want to rebel against everything like your parents used to play around the house or something, or like you have create this like straw man that you're like fighting against from the very beginning. Yeah,
and it's a hard thing to kind of like, as you grow older and you know more records or you know more about what works in a room, it's hard to keep an edge. You need to almost remind yourself to like leave a mistake in, or like leave a bit of your personality in what you do, because I think you see it in filmmakers, you see it in music, you see it in everything of like, it's what's kind of so exciting when people manage to have really long sprawling artistic careers that like, you know, Kanye is a bit of like, it's tough to kind of like big up anything, but like up until recently there was some moments where like you'd be like, wow, he's still tapping into kind of like a weird oppositional child logic thing, right?
It was probably a while ago, though. Honestly,
it was a while ago.
Checking my watch.
But yes, of course, that kind of ship's gone. But it was for a time, it was cool to see someone working at such a commercial level, allowing themselves to kind of like tap back into that space, because a lot of us can't. I think like the realities of capitalism and just of not like, as you kind of just know more rules about stuff, you feel less comfortable breaking them.
I think that's also something connected to like the inner child and how close you are to your inner child. And as you get older too, like the aging of it too, like I find, I noticed this with a lot of artists and a lot of electronic artists. It's like you start off very abrasive maybe, and then as you get older, you're going further and further into ambience.
Well, that's just our hearing loss, though, dude.
Yeah.
That's just a tinnitus, bro.
Yeah, I mean...
Just taking the EQ down on that 1.2, like just every month it goes down.
Yeah, I got hearing loss from a Jacques Green show, so I know the vibes.
I'm so sorry.
But yes, I was thinking like just as I'm getting older too, and maybe you've experienced this, like the kind of music that I'm wanting to make more and more now, it's more like I want to make something that you can listen through all the way through, and it's just this one consistent experience, and it can live alongside your life in that way. And that's like something that I feel like ambient music is really good about. One thing I want to know, actually, how did you get into actually making music?
I just played in some bands in high school and stuff, and really enjoyed that. Played a couple live shows locally and stuff, but the minute I found out about, honestly, before I even got into like electronic music proper, it was like around the same time of like really understanding kind of electronic musicians was also the rise of Neptunes and Timbaland. And it was simultaneously like, oh, okay, there's a way to make music that's not like jumping around on stage necessarily. There's a role to kind of like maybe be more in the background. But simultaneously, like, damn, I don't have to like argue with my drummer because he's doing too many drum fills. Like, I can do it all myself. And so I played guitar, I played in bands, like sung a couple times. And but then the minute that I found out about like Fruity Loops, FL Studio, it was game over for me. I just wanted to like, and I think there's this thing where like I definitely played a lot of like PlayStation, and it just felt like a better video game.
Yeah.
Like Ableton and Fruity Loops are the best video games in the world. Like once you have those, why would you play Call of Duty?
Absolutely. No, it's seriously, FL gang, stand up right now. Because, you know, if you're on our side, you're on the right side.
Yeah, once I had a really interesting conversation with a guy like a very long time ago who's he now does a different music project, but at the time he was doing this like pretty dumb kind of bottle servicey EDM stuff, like opening for Steve Aoki and shit like that. And I was at his house, and he's like, all the boys are hanging out. This is this fella's music. and the boy,
bad vibes management.
Yeah. And we're just kind of hanging out, and he's like working on this stuff, and it was like pretty successful, especially because we were so young. And he's playing this thing, and like the riser's going up, and like the drop's about to happen. He kind of like gives us this look, and he literally goes like the biggest eye roll as it kind of drops. And the boys are like, oh, this one's gonna be a monster. And he was kind of the first guy to be like, yeah, I was like a competitive like Warcraft and Counter-Strike guy. And then like found out about like Fruity Loops, and I was like, wait, like it's the same as like a flick shot. It's like the same as like I'll just like do a bigger drop. Like that's the video game. Like I'll win the game. Wow. And like that was his approach to making music. And I always like thought it was really honest and kind of perceptive to just like, especially in a genre of music like EDM where like that's the arm race. Like, you know, Sophia has some beautiful quotes about just making the shiniest, brightest thing you can, which is I think like should be the end goal of pop music. But in EDM it's a bit that, and it's also that tension release thing, and like, you know, it's pretty impressive.
So what you're saying is it's just all a game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Life's fun.
Life is fun.
It gets so annoying sometimes, but it is fun. At the end of the day, it's so fun.
What do you think of the whole cliche with DJing is like, yeah, so you put the drums in and then you take them out.
Yeah, sure.
And then you put them back in.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel about that? Do you think that's
I think that's
accurate?
Amazing. Yeah, there's a friend of mine who's like,
you heard it here first, folks.
Dude, that's great. You know, like there's a good friend of mine. He's like so good at hosting people and restoration and kind of nightlife, but this guy is a after hours like demon. And I've seen him do moves where like everyone's kind of it's late, and we're parched, and like he'll go like 40 minutes with just like the water's out, and then all of a sudden like he's just like found a bottle of liquor or something, and he like planned it to kind of, he took the bass out and he put it back in. And like, this is a long time, but like, and literally I was like, you knew I was there the whole, this is like a very long time ago, and I was like, you knew I was there the whole time, and he's like, he kind of gives me a look, and I'm like, he's like DJing the vibe, he's DJing the sesh.
Wow.
And I think all of life is tension relief, you know? Like, I think if you go to a club every day, it's not fun anymore. I think, like, if you go to a French restaurant all the time, that's bad for you and it sucks. If the DJ keeps the bass in the whole time, I think that's fine. That's fine. He doesn't have to take it out. Or they don't have to take it out, but yeah.
Do you feel like, because I know you've been on tour for a while now, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been on tour here?
Just over a month now.
Yeah.
And I've got another 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah. I've got 2 times where I go back home for 3 days. So I'm looking forward to that.
And it's like, does it get tiresome just being in that particular environment of nightlife, like over and over?
Yeah. But like, does your office get tiresome? It's like, or whatever job you do. Like, I think like we are so blessed to get to have some pretty fun moments throughout our work. And like, obviously, so for like, I think like the more kind of helpful way to look at it is like a few years ago, my girlfriend and I were contemplating moving to Paris and didn't end up doing it, but we were really kind of thinking about it strongly. And a friend of ours was like, yeah, but doesn't the club scene kind of suck there? And I was like, I'm in a club every day. I'm in a club all the time. Like, I don't need a club where I live. I want to walk out and be inspired and kind of have some friends and some things I want to do. But like, I'll get to a club. Don't worry about that. And so I enjoy when I'm at, I enjoy when I'm in them. Obviously it gets long or kind of boring or whatever. You try to make the most of it. If I'm not feeling it too much, I'll try to only show up like 30, 40 minutes before I'm on, kind of leave like quickly afterwards. I'm not like staying at the club that much anymore. Like I think I'm pretty grateful I naturally grew out of that. I think in my 20s I'd be like, show up to like an hour or two before and like stay until the end, like follow the promoter to some after party or something. I think like I feel like Neo in the Matrix. Like I know what that's gonna be. Like I just look at a guy, you know, like that old, like they look at each other kung fu guys and they know who would win without fighting each other.
Right.
Like I just look a promoter in the face and I see how the next 7 hours of my life are gonna go, and I'm like, thanks, that's cool. I'll go to the hotel now. Or you know, like I've done it. Like,
or is it like you can tell by like what restaurant style they bring you to?
Oh, that's for sure.
You know,
yeah, for sure.
So can you tell me about Turbo Crunk?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you explain Turbo Crunk for the people here?
Turbo Crunk was a party that I was involved in for 4 years. It was Lunas, who is a good friend of mine from college at the time, and 6'2", was like a bit of a mentor to all of us. Ango, who now lives here and works as a great composer, and Tyson and Seb Diamond, and all of us had this like total historical anomaly. Like it's the nerdiest thing. Where like we'd have some gear on stage, and it was all like live. It was kind of the advent of like truly bringing your laptop to the club with like Ableton, not like Serato. So we would just kind of like have basically live beat making, and then but the way we kept people in, the way it was not just for the fellas, was you'd have the acapella of like Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg. Like it was constantly just running acapellas of like rap music over these kind of beats being made, which made it like really fun party atmosphere. And through that, we became like very quick MySpace friends with the early days of like Flying Lotus and Hudson Mohawk and No Such Thing and all these people across the world, and we were able to like bring quite a lot of them to Montreal. But it was a totally insane party. We did it monthly, and it was a bit of an arms race between us of like how much new music you could play, like how few beats from last month did you need to rely on, kind of thing, which egged each other on to like all of us were writing an hour of new music every month, which was a good crash course, definitely.
Yeah, it was like this kind of incubation.
Yeah, and it was an insane like time in Montreal. This is like kind of around the time we met each other, where like we would do a club night from 10 to 3 a.m. and reliably a friend would be living in a loft that could fit 800 people and charge $5 at the door, $5 for any drinks. And so at the end of the night, I specifically remember No Such Thing that I'm now like, you know, collaborating a lot with. Like we're bringing him out of California. I think it was his first time out of America and maybe first time out of California. And first time playing in front of like a lot of like girls, like a party kind of vibe. He has this like amazing show. We paid him like $700 or whatever. And the party ends. We're like, okay, we're going to this other place. You want to make another $700? And he's like, what? And we just like get in a taxi at 3 a.m. We go to like 135 Van Horn, the corner of Waverly.
Yeah.
Shout out Olivier, Marie-Hélène. And we go up these stairs, and like the back windows are on the train tracks. You're not bothering anyone. It's like an art gallery downstairs. And there's got to be 400 people in there. And we just DJ again, just like keep. And mostly at the time we're playing like a lot of hyphy, like Bay Area rap music, a lot of kind of like some really kind of party rap stuff, like E40 kind of things. One time, this might have been that night, because you know they wouldn't give you, if you said it was a private party, kind of the same thing now. You don't get in that much trouble, but if you're exchanging cash for tickets or drinks, that's when it's a problem. And there's one night where the owner, I guess I named him before, but whatever, he's doing fine. This is like a packed dance floor, and my man exit his room. He was like behind the dance floor, and he runs out buck naked. Oh my God. To go grab the cash box at the door and just run through this like dance floor of 500 people, like 6 in the morning to go hide the cash box, while like a No Such Thing is like being like, what do you guys even do here? Like, what's even going on in this town?
No, I love that, because that is really indicative of the after party scene in Montreal. Yeah. There's this quasi-legal kind of just clusterfuck of madness.
Yeah.
What is the impact of, because we've DJ'd after parties together
Absolutely.
in Montreal back in the day, and
with Grimes.
With Grimes. She was there, and it was just
she would DJ then.
And she would DJ.
Yeah, I played with her like many times at like Crew Dimitri and stuff.
Yeah, and you'd have like, you know, Arcade Fire and Godspeed people just holding court and such, and it was just a very Montreal time, you know. Yeah,
I mean, I guess it definitely formed like, I think I got so, it's not even blasé. I think like I'm still excited. I love going to other places, but like nothing can shock me. I feel like I got to like kind of a level of like, by the first time I went to Berghain, I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, oh, so you do that shit too, or too? Yeah, cool. Nice.
Nothing can shock you, huh? Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
There's some wild parties out there, but
Sure.
But yeah, the Montreal after party scene is definitely, I found it very influential to the music I would make. Do you feel like you would ever? I used to DJ a lot with Phil Carneve.
Yep.
A very wild character in Montreal, and we used to be making music during the day that we would end up playing at the after party. Like
same for me all the time.
Yeah. How do you ever keep that kind of after party spirit in your creative process?
I definitely try to. I think like part of the idiosyncratic side of my music comes from that scene that I kind of still carry with me, of like, and also kind of like that idea of like wanting to widen the tent, like having dance records that feel that they would appeal. I don't even know if there's like such a thing as an indie kid anymore, but of the idea of wanting to appeal to even that person, whether that's by having that one little kind of detail in something where it works on kind of multiple different levels. And so and definitely a sense of like fun, even when my music has like maybe some drama or something, I think there's always fun to it, or like and a bit of like this chaos. And so that's definitely a part of it. I think like I've made the bulk of my records with one room or one party or one DJ set in mind, for sure.
Nice.
Anything that's remotely clubby that I've made, for sure.
Wicked. Yeah. And so like the Montreal music scene, you lived in Montreal, you lived in Toronto, you lived in New York as well.
New York as well, yeah.
How would you compare those scenes in like the vibes, and be as honest or as diplomatic as you want or whatever, but
I had, honestly, when I first moved to Toronto, this street was very different than it is now. And there was that after hours just a few blocks to, I'm pointing right now for the anyone listening later, but there was, I've played at 5 different addresses on this street over the years. And when I first moved here, it was like quite lively. Honestly, it still is. I think like the room we stand in right now has been bringing like incredible talent every week. And I think the opposite is happening now in Montreal, where the vibes are still super alive. People are just down to hang, but there's just no money. And touring is difficult now. It's like flights are more expensive, hotels are more expensive, and now more than ever I definitely feel like I'm pretty lucky. I get to see bands that I like if I'm on the road and we're at the same festival or something. But I've been noticing a lot of acts either can't play there, or if they do, it's on the Wednesday. And Montreal are maniacs enough that they will go on the Wednesday, but you do lose a little bit of that like international melting pot of kind of ideas kind of coming through. Whereas I do think like Toronto has maybe more access to that stuff. Like we're up against Nia Archives tonight. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, for real. For real. Thank you for coming.
That's sick. But those are the kind of the realities of it. I think like Elijah, who's been kind of big for his like yellow square thing recently.
Love that guy.
Dropped my favorite line of the year, which was Rent is the creative director. And I keep just kind of like thinking about that one, like I think I stared at a wall for like 45 seconds when I first read that.
Rent is the creative director.
Yep.
So what do we do with this creative director? How do we?
Well, basically just that like even when you want to express yourself, be true to some values, the tightening vice of capitalism and of your real life situation comes in the way and just kind of like might not redirect the ship, but steers it a tiny bit, and that comes from booking policy to venue. That comes from the type of records that are made. That kind of comes from the type of DJ sets people are willing to do. Because, when we first met each other in Montreal, it was customary for someone to work 2 bar shifts at a bar, have 1 monthly at a cafe where they DJ'd, and have like a pretty serious drug problem that they paid for. And still be fine. You just like, you paid $250 to live in a 6.5 with like 1 or 2 other people in like a very cool part of town around other cool people. And Rent is the creative director. It means that those people can't live as close to the cultural spaces they want to work at, and the cultural spaces can't afford to take as many risks. And it changes how any city operates. I'm seeing it happen in Montreal, honestly. Like I can't fully rag on Toronto at all, because I'm seeing those same forces arrive like definitely more since the pandemic over there. Yeah. Probably a lot of Toronto people moving over there. I'm joking. But it's but all that to say that it's like at a certain degree, it's not about some moral failing about the people that live in any particular area code. Yeah. It's a set of systemic circumstances that ruin the fun.
Yeah, no, for real, it is a systemic issue. I want you to put your night czar hat on if you can. Like, what would you do to save Canadian nightlife?
What is the kind of main driving issue, you think? What's the...
Well, just the same kind of issues that have been exacerbated in recent years, like things like not having enough venues or whatever, or people being able to afford to even get to the point where they're a DJ and a producer and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's true. I kind of wish every single country in the world realized that, like, someone has been putting it really eloquently in the UK actually, because there's been a crazy amount of small venues are closing over there, and they just put it kind of like, they had to kind of put it in that way of like, Adele and Ed Sheeran were found in small rock clubs. If you lose all your small rock clubs, you're not going to get your next massive superstar that fills like the Wembley Stadium. Like all these things exist for a reason. And I wish there was more of an understanding of the health of our cities. Even if you're not into techno, if there's a little bumping techno club in your little neighborhood, there's a little life that happens around that. And there's, who knows where, hopefully the party's not called Turbo Crunk, but if it is, what if it starts in that club? And I think like because that started in Zubizar, like a tiny, small little 120 cap space on a second floor in Montreal.
Can you describe it actually? Because it's very unique space. It's
like if you had a sex dungeon on a third floor. It's got this like arch ceiling, very small arch ceiling. I think allegedly it was a swingers club in the 80s. I don't know if I believe it, but I choose to believe it.
It was very medieval looking to me. It was like a cave.
Yeah, and you could get a moose head and a shot for $5. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Hell yeah.
And they had like a really adventurous booking policy, and like from there, like that was the start of Italians Do It Better. Like a lot of the early Johnny Jewel shows happened there. A lot of early French house parties happened there. Like I had Dorian Concept and Machine Drum playing that room. And without a room like that, if all you have is like a Live Nation Ohm 500 cap, where does a 19-year-old take a chance? And if a 19-year-old can't take a chance and they feel excluded by something, that they don't do it at all, and then they start watching Adin Ross on Kick, like go fucking out. Like if there's nowhere for them to stay, and like right now, that's definitely the other issue is like your rent's so expensive, but a ticket to go out is like $40, and a fucking tequila soda is $12. And like I had a moment recently where I had a really good show in a venue. Like I don't want to give too much context to like me, but it was in a part of a city that was like a kind of nice, far from where people are living, and the ticket was kind of expensive, and it was busy. But I kind of look around, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, who can pay like $50 to get in, $30 taxi, fucking like $60 of drinks, like et cetera, maybe a late night snack. It's like everyone in this room had $300 to blow, like at least. Who is that? And kind of and fine. I don't hate them. That's fine. But I think that's very narrow-sighted to think that that's going to sustain culture. Like I think you need that upstream, and especially to get kind of younger people excited and feel invited is crucial.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, give it up for that for sure. Sure. No, because I think that's really important, and I think it's why spaces like Standard Time are really important, and
absolutely
all the after hours venues and lofts and stuff that we kind of.
But I think little tiny spots like Bambi's down the street, I think that kind of thing is like super important. It's like, I think every Toronto hip person will be like, I'm over it. And we all have this cycle of always being over places that are around for a long time. But the reality is like a 90-person place that will like take a shot on like a 20-year-old that wants to start a party with their friends. That's the future of clubbing. It's not a 36-year-old that has like really cool records. Like that's just always going to be the case.
I love that. I feel like that's like a really good spot to kind of stop the conversation portion. But we're going to treat everyone to a very special surprise. We're going to play some unreleased music, yeah?
Yeah, I got a couple records, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about them after?
When we'll talk about them after.
Okay,
so that's what we're going to do. We're going to play. You want me to go back there and you can kind of describe the track?
Sure, yeah. So I think it's on the left one. I've been working with a record with, one of these people that I've brought up a couple times, No Such Thing. We've known each other for a long time and started making some music together right after the pandemic, and it's felt really good and really comfortable and really, but comfortable in a way that we're kind of pushing ourselves. You'll hear this is a cut. It actually doesn't have a name yet. This is truly hot off the press, but it feels like a beautiful meeting of the minds where it's not exactly something I do on my own, not exactly something he do on his own, but it contains, we're both, the DNA is there. Like to welcome to the stage Rolly Pemberton. My show now. How the tables have turned, huh?
Oh yes. So can you let us know a little bit of like the process of making something like that? Because you made that with No Such Thing.
Yeah, so we kind of go band mode actually. So after kind of like saying that I was so excited to give up playing in bands when I was a teen by finding out that you could just do it all yourself on a computer, you do that for long enough and you actually, you think about the other side. And we found, the software we both use, Ableton, is a very easy way to you hit this link button. And if you're on the same Wi-Fi, both laptops are running. And so whenever we work, we've written all our music together, always in the same room, and we have both laptops running. And so like while he's working on a bass line, I'm working on some hi-hats, vice versa. And I don't think we've ever written something separately. Like we'll finish songs kind of remotely, but we've started everything in the room, and it's always both. We're not taking turns at the chair. And like that one is kind of nice because it's not showy, it's not a splashy record, but it's like I think we've just been walking around outside. We have like a little matcha. I get back to his house, and I just kind of start fucking around with the sound, and like something perked up in his ear, and he just like sat down, and we just didn't talk to each other. And 55 minutes later, like the song was done, and it just felt like this kind of like nice way to collaborate with a human being,
Yeah,
it's nice.
I feel like there was a really nice economy of sound on that.
Yeah,
track.
that's something I've been trying to get better at, and with him has been, that's a really nice way to put it. Fewer sounds. I think I've done that a lot in the past of coming from a place of insecurity where I'd be like, here's a melody, now here's a counter melody, here's a rhythm, now here's like a polyrhythm, and wanting to complicate things when we should just be making songs that sound like Vega's Suicide. There should only be 4 sounds. And so trying to get better at that. And I think working with someone else gives me the confidence to allow every sound to breathe more because some of them are his. So you don't want to like bury anything. Mm-hmm. And that's nice.
Yeah, and one thing I've always noticed with your music, I love the drum programming so much. Like I feel like you have a particular knack for, in my opinion, coming up with drum programming that is very unexpected. It's like it's not never really linear, and I feel like it's hitting in spots that you wouldn't expect. Like what can you let us know like how you come up with like a drum programming?
I feel like it must be exactly the same for you as a rapper, where like the fun is finding a new pocket in a way, and like there's so many different ways you could play a beat to 10 different rappers and they'll find different pockets on it. And I think in the same way, I'll spend so long just moving a kick around and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. And maybe even if like, to kind of go back to Particular Text being like, your record's fucking hard to mix. Like I've had that thought, like mixing a song, and I'm like, why did I put the clap there? Or something like that. But while you're just kind of listening to the song itself, there's something kind of idiosyncratic that kind of catches my ear and your body in a different way. And it's just fun. Making music is fun.
Making music is fun. And I feel like, your music, it really carries a lot of your personality in it. I feel like it's really reflective of your energy as a person. And It's been just really great talking to you about music, talking to my buddy, a person I really respect and appreciate.
Likewise, man. An honor.
Well, give it up for Jacques Green. And we're going to get behind the decks here. We're going to move all this stuff. And we're going to play some records and hang out. So
let's do it.
Stick around, y'all.
Sir. Woo. Thank you.